Oh, could you spell or say your name and then spell it for us?
Yep, I'm Danielle Tunian Smith, or I go by Ellie Tunian Smith. DANIELLETEUNION hyphen Smith.
And what is your personal opinion on the coronavirus?
What part of it? Like how it's been handled, what it's done to my life, in what respect?
How it's affected you and your job?
Okay, so I'm as a professor, it affected me in a way that how I deliver my courses. The first time that I'm going to be delivering it, I did deliver all 4 classes remotely, meaning it's not totally online. It's asynchronous. It's synchronous, meaning my students meet me at the times the courses are stated that they are at, and I teach on Zoom. So I think it's actually a lot more difficult than a face-to-face teaching, not in the respect of delivering it necessarily, because I'm sitting in a chair and I'm looking at and we have rules of engagement where I'm like, hey, you have to have your video on your face. I have to be able to see you. Uh, um, but in terms of setting it up and having it prepared and ready for them, because I like to do kind of like a flipped classroom where you have to come to the class having read the material, looked at the modules, looked at the links I've provided you, prepared, and then our class is supposed to be about discussion. The remote with freshmen is different than the remote with my juniors and seniors, meaning, they just sit there like a lump on a log. I have to prompt them by pulling them out, and then they're like, oh, can you repeat the question, please? And so it's a little bit more difficult. Like, I have an intro to sociology class with 20 students on Zoom, and it's quiet. You could hear crickets. Now my criminal justice class is smaller, and um, and they do a pretty good job of interacting, but then again, I pick on them more. But the upper level students with using Zoom, they're more apt to speak up when you're asking a question, because they're a little bit older and I think prepared. But so COVID has, isolated me. I have older parents, so I don't want to be around students and then take the virus back to my parents. Um, so I would say it's just isolated me. I spend a lot more time by myself setting up my pages. I'm a real social person too, so at first it was a little difficult. And actually I think that I'm beginning to, I don't know if I like it more, but it's not bothering me.
That's
I
pretty.
don't know if I've actually turned into a recluse of sorts, maybe.
And then, do you think that the all these changes are affecting the students or teachers more?
I think they're both affected, and maybe in similar ways, and in different ways. I, you know, in the format that I'm teaching, and I think in the way that some of the students are being taught even face to face, and using the hybrid. I think universities, not just Siena, but I say universities meaning all universities that have said, hey, come back to the university. We're face to face. Life's going to be back to normal. I think we're being a little disingenuous by saying that, because you might be in the class face to face, and the delivery of the class is, okay, we're in a classroom setting. We're all wearing masks. We can't be, close to each other. Some of them are on Teams or Zoom or what have you. But the rest of their life, I feel, is very constrained and not what maybe they signed up for. So that's what I mean by disingenuous. I don't think that universities are necessarily being real truthful of how it's going to be for them in the learning, environment. So I wish that we and all universities would have been a little bit more truthful, and that way students could say, hey, maybe I am just going to take online or these remote classes, because my life is going to be so much different and not necessarily what it's supposed to be, until we have an antidote or, whatever we need. But so I think it affected me in a way that made me a little bit sour as to how, and I get it. Universities have to make money. They have to stay afloat. We don't want Siena Heights going under, or University of Michigan, or any of these schools. But It's really hard, and I know it's difficult on the students. And I kind of gauge that off of my own daughter, Laura, who's a sophomore this year at Tiffin, and she got COVID and was really, really sick, ended up in the emergency room and on an inhaler and steroids. And she never even made it to her first day of class. And, you know, she's a science major, so she had 3 labs and she's sick. And then she's trying to engage doing for 2 weeks, you know, quarantine in a house. And she almost came home, and she's my kid that has the most tenacity. So I kind of took a lesson from that, thinking about students at Santa Heights and how patient I should be, and not necessarily lowering the bar on what my expectations are, but, you know, trying to be a little bit more patient. And I've always been caring, but I just think it's tough on both ends, and I try to be cognizant of that with the students, because these are unprecedented times, and I think students, especially freshmen, are just like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, I'm saying, "Are you kidding me?" So I know the students are.
So coming from the student perspective on that, I feel as if I personally struggle more in online classes just from the like end of last semester. I watched my grades plummet, and we are only in the like online portion for half the semester. So I know I
Yeah.
personally do well with online just because I feel like I'm disengaged, even if we are on Zoom.
Hmm. Oh yeah, totally. I get that, Wade. You're a good student, and you know, certain times there's students that need face to face and like that student and professor engagement totally. And I feel that disconnect. And that's why I think it's so much harder, because now I've set up my modules and my Canvas. Like, I mean, they've turned into these like web pages there where I have images that I try to like I try to play tricks and do fun things to keep them engaged. Like today, I got on when the camera finally turned on. I was sitting there like, "Hey, you guys, how's class going?" You know, and then they were like asking questions, and I was like, "What'd you say?" And so I try to do something engaging to, like, besides just hey blah blah blah. Then I'll stop every once in a while and I'll say, "Let's take a breather," you know, a little coffee talk time or something. So it's difficult, and the hard end of it for me is, you're right, to try to keep people like yourself engaged and paying attention. But now we've got additional tools. Like I give students now video quizzes where they have to watch like a 12-minute maybe a small documentary on something that's within the reading, and it stops and at certain points, and there's questions, and it's a video quiz, and then there's written quizzes, and I have discussions. So it's a lot of work for me just trying to keep them engaged. But oh, I get it, and I don't know how to make it any better besides, try to bring humor to it and caring.
So pretty much just throw a bunch of not busy work, but kind of busy work at them to keep them.
Oh, it's not busy work. You know what it is I'm trying to engage with them where I can't do it face to face. So I'm like, "Hey, we would have normally maybe watched this in class and discussed it, but now I'm making sure they watch it." Because in the past I'd say, "Hey, watch this and we'll talk about it in class." And I knew for a fact that if I had 10 people and there 3 people maybe have watched it, but they're riding off the backs of what other people are saying, and they add, and professors aren't stupid and other students aren't stupid either. But this way I can make sure that they watch it, but then we discuss it. So like if it's a 20-pointer, they're going to do it. They're going to watch it. They're going to take that quiz. They have to. And then I know that we can discuss it. So I sometimes think that, and trust me, Wade, there are some students that are much more engaged online because they're shy and they'll speak up. Like I have this one girl that I bet you she wouldn't say boo if I saw her in person, but she's very engaged in speaking to me in the intro to criminal justice class. So, there's that other side of the story, but I don't give busy work. You're going to do the work I want you to do to get what I need you to get, and then we're going to talk about it. So I don't like busy work. I don't like to look at your busy work either.
Puts more work on yourself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you have any thoughts on how long like Sienna's policies and stuff that they have in place for this might last for, or
Well, thinking of COVID and just in general, and what I think is going to happen with COVID is, I was listening to a thing on NPR this morning, and they're talking about even if miraculously there's a antidote or a shot or whatever that is, if we listen to leadership, maybe at this point they'll say by November 3rd, that's pretty much, they stopped that testing because somebody's now developed some kind of weird from some virus, whatever they received. I'm thinking about the antidote or whatever, and that person is now sick from something else, and they were part of this testing program. So they put a stop on it right now. So you know what? This virus is controlling us. We're not controlling it, and until we can control it, if I was a guessing woman, Wade, I told my kids, I said, you should just get used to wearing masks. They said, hey, we got a great antidote. June or August. And they're like, a vaccination and everybody's going to be great. Yeah. Because by the time that even if there was an antidote today, Wade, because I think this vulnerable population, hey, they got a great antidote consideration. And we're not the only vaccination was everybody's going to be great. Discovered here in the United States. By the time that it got around to only allow all Americans to get their shots first, and they have to be taken into care of the rest of the world. And we're not the only country. Let's say we're all the vulnerable populations discovered here in the United States, and that we is it fair to say that we should only allow all Americans to get their shots first? Is it fair to say that care of the rest of the world, or do we say, okay, we're all the vulnerable populations throughout the world, and that we take care of it? That's what I'm saying. In a long way, I was thinking. We're in this fair to say that, and it's going to go into next summer. World dying from this. That's just my beliefs. I'm not shaped than us, and I'm not a scientist. That's what I'm saying. In a long way, I'm thinking we're in this for the long haul, and it's going to go into next summer.
Yeah,
that's just my beliefs, and I'm not a scientist. Yeah, and it was just kind of some countries handled it. Like I look at, I read about some of the countries, the way they handled it.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I don't know if that would have worked in the United States because, and it was just kind of some countries handled it. In the United States, like I look at, it's my right to do this. Countries, the way they handled it, necessarily listen anyway. I don't know if that would have worked. So we made our beds and we're lying in it now, and. There's so much. There's going to be a lot more entitlement in the United States, and people thinking, "This is my right to do this," and they won't necessarily listen anyways. And so we made our beds, and we're lying in it now, Wade. And every day I wake up and I just more. It's like I remember thinking 2019 was bad. It was bad personally for me. January with a shoulder surgery, and then October was back surgery. I thought, oh man, I don't want 29 repeated. Every day I wake up and I might have taken back 2019. I remember thinking 2019 was bad. It was bad personally for me. January with a shoulder surgery, and then October was back surgery. I thought, oh man, I don't want 29 repeated. Now I'm thinking, I might have taken back 2019.
Last winter when it all started. I worked through the whole thing from the young person's perspective here. I don't know. I feel like 10 days off since then. Over the summer we actually got busier during when it all started. And I worked through the whole thing. It was kind of lackadaisical. Never got it about, I had PPE and 10 days off since then. So I kind of just got in the mentality. We actually got busier during it. I haven't got it yet. So our company was kind of lackadaisical about and we had 2 cases at work and we haven't had any more. I kind of just got the mentality of just have that mentality of I haven't got it yet, so I'm not too worried about it.
And my son,
and we had 2 cases at work and we haven't had any more.
And I told him, I says,
so I kind of just have that mentality.
That's a logical thinking.
It is what it is at this
point.
But
I said, you have to, and I told him, I said, step back. And my son, he wanted having that discussion. This isn't about that. And I told him, I said, this is about populations that's a logical one of the reasons I'm remote. But I said you have to, and I told him, I said, step back and think of it a little bit differently. Elderly father and my stepmom and my other stepfather, he's in a home. This is about populations. I've only been able to talk to him through one of the reasons I'm remote is that which is difficult to take this. But I told my son when he said similar things because my stepmom and my other stepfather, he's in a home in March, and I'm pretty sure I've only been able to talk to him through a window, and which is right before they were coming home. And I told my son when he said similar things because and stuff, but I didn't know it. He got actually sick in March, and I'm pretty sure he had COVID then before COVID was really. and I was
that was
on
right
an
before
inhaler
they're
and
coming home. And I think that's actually when I
steroids, but
had it, because I was
I
really
always, I
sick,
tell my son, this
respiratory
isn't
and stuff,
about
but I
you.
didn't know it.
So when you
I
think
went to
about
the
this
doctor and they're like,
disease,
oh, I think you got
if
bronchitis.
we
This is
want to
before
think about
COVID
it
was
as
like
just
really,
it's
and
about me,
I was on
then it
an
doesn't look so
inhaler
bad.
and,
But if we think about
steroids, but
who this could be
I
passed
tell my
on
son,
to
this
and
isn't
what it could
about
do
you.
to other people.
So
That's,
when you think about this disease,
that's how,
I've been
if
trying
we
to
want
think
to think
about
about it as just,
otherwise I can
it's about
frustrate
me,
myself if I just think,
then
well,
it doesn't look so bad.
I'm
But
feeling
if we
pretty
think
damn
about
good, and my
who this
but
could be
both my
passed
kids have
on
been
to and
sick,
what it
and
could do to other people, that's,
so I
that's
look at it
how
very
I've
much
been
like,
trying to think
wow, this
about
has
it.
nothing to do with Ellie.
Otherwise,
This is
I
just
can
Ellie
frustrate
better play the
myself if I
part. She
just
better
think,
do
well,
what she's supposed to do,
I'm
or she
feeling
could
pretty
pass
damn
this
good,
along
and
to some
but
poor
poor
unsuspecting
unsuspecting
person
person
with a
so
pre-existing condition
I
like
look at it
asthma,
very much
diabetes, or
like
like
this
my
has nothing
husband
to do
who
with
had
Ellie. This is just
Ellie
severe
better
heart
play the
attack.
part. She better do
And I
what
was
she's
like,
supposed
well,
to do,
I
or
better
she
play
can
my
pass this
cards
along to some
correctly. So I get what you're
poor
saying, because I
unsuspecting
see a
person
lot
with
of
a
people
a
that feel that way,
pre-existing
and I just
condition
always
like
say,
asthma,
step back a
diabetes,
minute
or like
and
my
think,
husband
this
who
isn't
had
about me.
severe heart
And
attack.
it helps you, I think,
And I
with
was like,
it.
well,
I
looking
better
at it
play
with
my
a
cards
different
correctly.
perspective.
So I get what you're saying,
Whatever.
because I see a lot of people
like
that
my
feel that
age
way, and I
just
just
kind of
always say,
lose sight of
step
that
back a minute
because
and think, this
of
isn't
the
about
fact
me.
that we're of like
And
the
it
age
helps you,
group
I think,
where
with that,
as long as you're
looking at it
pretty much
with a different
healthy, you'll
perspective.
make it through it.
Whatever.
People like
Yeah.
my age
And
just kind
that's
of
that,
lose sight of
I
that
think that's that
because
American part of us
for the
that, and
fact
I'm not
that we're of
slamming you
like
for
the
it, but
age
that's
group
that American
where
part of
as
us
long as
that,
you're pretty much
the
healthy, you'll
entitlement,
make it through
the
it.
idea of,
If
yeah,
it's good for me, it's good for
and
the,
that's that,
it's
I
good.
think
It's
that's
good.
that American
And,
part of us
I
that, and
think
I'm not slamming you
different
for it, but that's
generations
that
look at it
American part of
differently.
us that,
Different ages look at it
the
differently.
entitlement,
Even different
the idea
political
of,
parties, as if you notice. And
if
if
it's
it's
good
good
for
for
me,
me,
it's
it's
good
good
for
for
the,
the country, which is
it's good,
unfortunate.
it's
But
good. And
so
I think,
yeah, it's a different generations look at it.
and there's no
differently.
rhyme or
Different
reason
ages look
sometimes.
at it
Like my
differently.
daughter,
Even
Waide,
different
she's
political
one of the
parties, as if
healthiest
you notice, and
people I know.
watching
She's
what's
put
going on in the
together,
country,
like
which is
throwing me around
unfortunate.
like a
But
redheaded stepchild.
so
And she
yeah,
got
it's a knocked to her knees.
and there's no
sick
rhyme or
with
reason
this
sometimes.
stuff.
Like my daughter, Waide,
And I was
she's one of
scared
the
to death,
healthiest
especially the night she
people I
called me at
know.
midnight
She
and
put
said, I'm not,
together,
I
like
can't,
throwing
I'm
me
not,
around
I
like a
can't get a
redheaded
full breath, and
stepchild.
I'm having a hard time
And
breathing.
she
I'm
got
in the emergency
knocked
room.
to her knees.
Well, as a parent,
sick
you're
with
helpless.
this stuff.
I'm here in
Um,
Michigan,
and
my
I was
daughter's
scared
in,
to death,
especially the night she
Ohio,
called me at
and she's on
midnight
her
and said,
way,
and
nobody
I'm
can
not,
go
I
in there
can't
with
get a full
her.
breath, and I'm
I
having a
was
hard
just
time
like,
breathing, and I'm heading to the emergency room.
well,
I mean,
as a
like I've
parent,
had
you're
some
helpless.
incidents where it's just been
I'm here
brought
in
home pretty
Michigan,
damn close.
and my daughter's
And
lost a friend to
Ohio,
COVID,
and
it's
she's
just
on her
like,
way,
and
so
nobody
I
can
think
go
I
in there
look
with
at it,
her.
and I was just like,
My niece is getting married in November.
I mean, like I've had some
and there's going to be
incidents where
100
it's just
people
been
there,
brought
and
home
it's in a
pretty damn
tent
close,
supposedly outdoors. But
but
lost
those
a
tents in
friend to
November,
COVID,
they're going to
and
be
it's just
enclosed.
I
So
just
I
said
think
I
I
wasn't
look
going to
at
go to
it
2 weddings
like
of people I really love. My
because
niece
there's
is
going to be
getting
over
married
100
in
people
November,
there.
and I said I ain't going to
And
that
there's going to
super
be 100
spreader. Are
people
you
there,
kidding
and it's in
me?
a tent supposedly outdoors.
And
But
my
you know, those
husband's like,
tents in
yeah, I'm
November,
not
hell, they're
going.
going to be enclosed.
And so I just said I wasn't going to
have
go
to
to
go to
2
my niece's
weddings
wedding,
of
so
people
I
I
just
really
was like,
love because
okay,
there's going to be over 100 people there. And I said I ain't
we'll
going to
see
that
how
super
that works out.
spreader.
You know,
Are
do
you
I stay
kidding
out and,
me?
you know, give her a gift, stay in the
And
parking
my
lot,
husband's
and
like, yeah, I'm not
hang out,
going.
drink some beer, smoke
And
some
so
cigarettes.
I gotta
You know,
go.
I have to go to my niece's
Whatever.
wedding, so
So
I
it's
just
gonna be
was like,
scary.
okay, I don't know. We'll see how that works out. You know, do I stay out and,
Um,
you know, give her a gift, stay in the
If there's
parking lot, and
anything else that you'd
hang
like
out,
to
drink some beer,
share or
smoke some
anything that I
cigarettes?
might
I gotta
forgot to ask
go.
about,
Whatever.
Just in
So it's
reference
gonna be
COVID
scary.
or students? I don't know.
either or.
You know,
If
this is my
there's
16th year
anything else that
teaching
you'd
here
like to
at
share or
Siena,
anything that I
and
might have forgot to ask
as a
about,
small university,
Just in
I've
reference
always
COVID
loved
or
the fact that I
students?
knew my students, and I got to
either
like
or.
see them in the hall and yuck it up with
You know,
them. This is my
or
16th
say,
year
hey, you need to come to
teaching
my
here at
office
Siena,
and give them a,
and
you know, come to Jesus
as a
talk.
small university, I've
That's some of
always loved the
great
fact that I knew
things
my
about
students, and
Siena
I got to
Heights,
like see them in
and
the
I
hall and yuck
totally,
it up with them, or
totally miss it.
or
And I
say,
know that
hey,
if I'm
you need to
missing
come to
that,
my office
that
and
students
give
are
them
missing
a, you
that
know,
too.
come to
And
Jesus talk,
because why do you come to
that's some
Siena?
of
Or
the great
if you didn't
things
want
about
this type
Siena
Channel Heights
interaction with
and
your
I
professors
totally
and staff.
totally
You
miss
would
it.
have went
And I
to
know
Southern
if I'm
Michigan,
missing that,
Michigan
that
State,
students are
and
missing that too. And
so I know
because
that's
why
what
do you come
I
to
miss.
Siena,
So I know
or
that they're
if you did
missing
want
that
this
and
type of
interaction
just
with
a
your professors
situation all the
and
way around.
staff.
And I really
You would have
hope
went
that
to
the
something
students
like
can hang
Michigan,
on
Michigan State,
and know that this too
so I
shall
know
pass.
that's what I
And
miss.
just
So I
try to
know
get
that they're
through it.
missing
And
that.
I know it's your
and
senior
just
year,
a
and
sad
that's what
situation all the
bothers
way
me
around.
too. Is like,
And I really hope
you know,
that
my
the
son
students can
graduated
hang
last
on.
year, Wade, from
And
Tiffin,
know that
and
this too shall
how we
pass.
celebrated his
He was
and
working,
just try to
he
get
was
through it.
actually
And
cleaning
I know
boats
it's your
at
senior
a
year,
marina.
and that's what bothers me too. Is like,
We sat on the couch.
you know, my son graduated
husband and I
last year, Wade,
were eating
from Tiffin,
popcorn
and
and watching
how
on
we
our computer
celebrated his
as Tiffin. He was working.
names.
He was actually
across
cleaning boats at
a
as
marina.
graduation. No pictures, no
And
nothing. Just
we sat on
on
the
our
couch You know,
My husband
Thomas
and I
Tunyon Smith, and he
were
was
eating
popcorn.
popcorn.
He was
and
watching on our computer as Tiffin
what is it? Summa
ran
cum laude
names, did
across,
great things, did, you know,
and
as
they,
graduation,
it
no
was just like,
pictures, no nothing, just
so we got
on
our
our,
3 seconds
you know,
of seeing
Thomas
our son's
Tunyon
name
Smith,
with
and he
this
was
little
summa cum
he was
laude
a
below it. And
what is
I
it? Summa
thought,
cum laude.
that was my
Did
firstborn.
great
I
things.
was
did
waiting for
you
him
know,
to
it was
graduate
just
from
like,
college. Like,
so we
I
got
can't
our
wait to
3
go,
seconds
you know,
of
and see
seeing
him
our
in his,
son's name with this little
ceremony
summa cum
gown
laude
and walk
below it.
across the stage with
And
his little cords.
I
And,
thought,
you know,
that's my
just,
firstborn.
so
I
I was
you know, I
waiting
know
for
it
him to
bothered him,
graduate
but
from
it also,
college. Like,
your
I
parents
can't
are
wait
just
to
looking
go,
at
you know, and
like,
see him
you
in
know, like
his
I know your parents are
ceremony
probably just like,
gown and
"Can't
walk
wait for
across
Waide
the
to," you know,
stage with his little
and do you
cords.
think
And,
do I
you know,
think there's
just,
gonna be a graduation
so
over
I,
here at the
you know,
field
I know it
house?
bothered him, but it also,
I
your
really
parents are just
question
looking at
that. I
you
don't
like,
know.
you know, like
I
I
don't
know
know
your
what it
parents
looks
are
like.
probably
Maybe
just
they'll
like,
have it
"Can't wait
outdoors
for
and we all have
Wade
to
to,"
sit
you
6
know,
feet apart.
and do you
You
think
know,
I'm,
but do I
so I
think there's
feel
gonna
for
be a
people like you,
graduation over
Wade,
here
that
at the field
I've
house?
known you for a long time, you know, since you were a
I really
freshman.
question that. I
And
don't
so that
know.
kind of hurts
I
my
don't know
heart a
what it
little bit
looks
for
like.
you
Maybe they'll
guys.
have it
And
outdoors and
as
we
a
all have to
professor
sit
here at
6 feet
Siena, I
apart.
was just doing
You
my
know, but
file
so I
cabinet
feel for
and
people like you,
rearranging
Wade,
and
that
getting rid of
I've
stuff.
known you
And
for a long time.
there's a
You know,
couple
since you were
students, I'm like,
freshmen, and
Jesus.
I haven't even
And so
sent them
that
an
kind
email.
of
I
hurts
wonder
my
if they're
heart a
still
little bit
here.
for
I
you
wonder,
guys.
you know. So
And
I was like,
as a
I
professor here
made a
at
list of
Siena, I was
students, and
just
I'm gonna
doing
send
my
an email to
file
them and say,
cabinet
hey,
and
you know,
rearranging and
meet
getting
me
rid
on
of
Teams.
stuff.
I'd
And
like to see your face.
there's a couple students, I'm like, Jesus.
Anyways,
I haven't even sent
I
them an
hope
email. I wonder if
everything.
they're
I
still
hope you do
here. I
well
wonder,
this year,
you know,
Wade.
so
I
I was
know
like,
that
I made a
you
list
said
of
you were
students I'm
struggling,
going to
and
send
I,
an
if
email
you
to
need
and say,
any
hey,
help, you know,
Zoom me,
meet
we
me
can
on
team
Teams.
it,
I'd like
we
to
can
see
do
your
whatever. I'll
face.
help you with whatever you got to do.
Anyways, and that means
I hope everything,
$3.95. That
I
means
hope you do well this
$4.95
year,
and
Wade. I
whatever
know
else you
that
might be struggling with.
you said you were struggling,
Sweet.
and if you need any help,
I
you
think
know,
that
Zoom me,
wraps
we
up
can team
the
it, we can
interview.
do whatever. I'll help
All
you with
right.
whatever you got to do. And that means $3.95. That means $4.95, and whatever else you might be struggling with.
Sweet. I think that wraps up the interview.
All right.